Hello, I'm Jacob. In this video, I'll be telling you about this alternate history. I've been an alternate history agent for many years, bringing you the most extraordinary scenarios I can find. Now let's get into it. What if the Nazis built the atomic bomb? Can you imagine what would happen if such power fell into the hands of Nazi Germany? Europe would be left in terror and despair, but how could they have achieved it? In this alternate history, we'll explore exactly that. Let's begin. 1945. Nazi Germany was collapsing. In the west, the Allies had crossed the Rhine, pushing deep into the heart of Germany. In the east, the Red Army was closing in on Berlin, street by street. Nazi Germany was burning in flames. The soldiers were exhausted, the civilians were starving, and the Nazi leadership was desperate. And the war was nearing its end. But even as the walls closed in, deep underground, there was still a secret waiting to be unleashed. While Germany burned above ground, deep below, a completely different kind of fire was taking shape. Since 1939, German physicists had been secretly working on a new kind of weapon, one that could split the atom itself. They called it Uranprojekt. It was so secret that even many of Hitler's own generals didn't know it existed. For years, it was thought to be nothing more than a failed experiment. Too ambitious, too late. But in the desperate final months of the war, the impossible became reality. Germany had done it. Not one, not two, but 3 fully functional atomic bombs. And it seemed they could produce even more, but now it was time to use what they had. Otherwise, it might already be too late for Nazi Germany. They had only 3 bombs, and Nazi Germany had to choose its targets carefully. Each one, a dagger aimed at the heart of their enemies. First, Moscow, the beating heart of the Soviet Union. One strike here, and the Red Army could collapse into chaos. Second, London, Britain's unshakable defiance, silenced in an instant. If the capital fell, the will of the people and the government would shatter, leaving the Allies divided. And third, Antwerp, the lifeline of the Western Front. The Allied armies depended on this single port to sustain their advance. Destroy it, and their offensive would starve to a halt. 3 cities, 3 strikes. These 3 targets held critical importance over Europe. It would take the Allies months to recover, and then for Nazi Germany, that meant a chance to breathe again. Enough to turn defeat into dominance. The bombs were ready, but there was one problem. How would they deliver them? In a desperate stroke of genius, German scientists managed to modify the V-2 rocket to carry a nuclear warhead, turning what was once a weapon of terror into a city killer. For Moscow and London, the choice was clear. Each one a nuclear-tipped V-2 rocket, launched from secret sites deep within German territory. Moscow was erased from the map within seconds of the bomb's impact. Nearly 4 million civilians lost their lives. The Soviet war machine fell into panic and chaos. London suffered the same fate, reduced to ashes in seconds. Nearly 8 million civilians perished. Britain's resolve fell silent. And for Antwerp, Germany's last bomber crews risked everything to deliver the 3rd bomb. At midnight, they struck the lifeline of the Allies, turning the port and its stockpiled supplies into a sea of flames. In just a few days, the Red Army collapsed. Britain fell silent, and the Allies lost their fuel, their bullets, and their hope. And then, the world held its breath. The Allies were struck down, their armies scattered, their leaders silent. No one knew how many more atomic bombs Germany still had, and the world couldn't muster a single act of resistance. America had to act. Should they keep attacking, try to resupply their forces in Europe, or aid the shattered Allied nations? Now, it was Germany's turn to finish what they had started, and as smoke rose over Europe, one thing was clear: the nightmare was far from over. Germany began to recover rapidly, revisiting their plans, and in the shadows, they continued to develop their terrifying technology. Stronger bombs meant greater fear. Was the world slowly falling under the shadow of Nazi Germany? What should we explore next? Life on a British warship at Gallipoli? Defending Tenochtitlan against the Spanish conquistadors? Standing beside Napoleon at Waterloo? Or should we continue this video? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you soon.